So Vegeta has finally arrived on Yardrat, and of course the question on everybody's mind is, what is he going to learn? What kind of techniques can Vegeta learn from the Yardrats to help them defeat Moro? Now, of course, the first technique that comes to mind is instantaneous movement. Now, instant transmission is of course a heavily relied upon technique of Goku's, which he learned from the Yardrats way back right after the Frieza saga. However, given a few of Vegeta's previous statements, this doesn't seem very likely, although the way it could help if he did learn it was that they would need to basically zip in, attack Moro, and then zip right out, giving Moro no time to siphon off their energy and absorb it himself. One major problem with this is that Goku already knows instant transmission and hasn't tried doing that, and I think a big problem with this battle tactic is that when they try to sense Moro, he knows that they are looking for him. As we've seen in chapter 43 of the manga, Goku was trying to search for Moro and Moro saw him like that, bringing fear to Goku's face. So essentially Moro would know that they're coming and plan for it, you know, so instantaneous movement is highly unlikely that Vegeta will learn that. So obviously their biggest threat is Moro's absorption ability to steal the ki from them because they rely so heavily on their ki. So they need to find some way around that technique. So this list focuses mostly on that, and we're gonna go from least plausible to most cool and plausible ideas here. But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more fun Dragon Ball videos as well as anime music covers. So for the first idea is a different kind of ki altogether. Now, I have heard the idea of Moro not being able to absorb a God of Destruction energy. Who knows if he can or not. I mean, he can take Genki and regular ki, so I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to take God of Destruction ki, but if Vegeta were able to somehow learn a technique to morph his ki or change it in a way to where Moro can't like sense it to steal it, or some way, shape, or form of keeping it away from Moro in that regard, that would be how that would work, and then he'd be able to utilize he would be the only one able to utilize that kind of ki, and of course nobody else would be able to sense him. He'd be like an android in essence, but of course that's fairly implausible since it seems like Moro can just absorb any kind of ki, you know? So going on to the next one would be a ki shield, similar to the one in Dragon Ball Super episode 98 when Goku and Vegeta were fighting the Trio de Dangers to keep Lavenda from poisoning them. Now, of course, this shield is made of ki, so, you know, Moro should be able to steal that away, but the idea would be to seal off their ki entirely with this shield to kind of block Moro from getting to their bodies to take their ki. So another shield would be a shield around Moro, having some sort of negative shield around him to prevent him from using his magic outside of that like bubble around him to use his magic against anything else that's not inside that bubble. Now, of course, he wouldn't be able to use the magic so that they can just like beat him in like 2 punches, you know? So that's fairly unlikely, but we're going on to more likely things here, and I think this is probably the best idea that I've come up with would be instantaneous ki movement or instant transmission of ki. Now, this is actually somewhat similar to Naruto's, if you've seen Naruto, his Sage Mode and Clone Jutsu combination, where if his normal mode like ran out of chakra, then he would just absorb one of his clones back into him and then rejuvenate his chakra. Essentially, what Vegeta would do is somehow keep his ki separate from his body in a safe place and then call upon it at will whenever he needs it. So he would face Moro with no ki at all and then summon it instantly for an attack, and then basically either make it go back to where it came from so that Moro doesn't have a chance to absorb that ki, or a way around that would be to save up a butt ton of ki, similar to how Sakura does in Naruto in her forehead, or Lady Tsunade. Wow, just realizing that there's quite a bit of Naruto similarities here, and I think that Pain, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think that Pain can absorb chakra, and then he started doing weird things when he tried to absorb Naruto's like sage chakra or whatever that was. So maybe this could tie into Vegeta's different kind of ki. It would be like a poisonous ki or something crazy like that. But anyway, I think the coolest and idea out of this list would be the instant transmission of ki, and the basically condensing and saving up of Vegeta's ki to call upon instantaneously whenever he needs it to attack Moro. But he would need enough to sustain himself to try to avoid Moro's regular attacks. But what do you guys think? That is my list. What do you think Vegeta is going to learn? Do you have any other ideas of what Vegeta might learn? Of course, if the Yardrats are okay with teaching him techniques, drop your thought waves down in the comments below. And of course, as always, thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.